All right. Welcome to the You Feel Me podcast, man. Happy Saturday, everybody. Wayne doing it right. I ain't right. Man. So you got the 11, right?
Yeah, I got to get the bigger one.
And yeah, the big one is big, man.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's a lot bigger than you would think. But
for
I
sure.
ain't got I don't have the biggest body in the world. So it looks kind of big in my hands. Oh man. So how's your week been, Wayne, bro? How you been, man?
My week's been pretty good, man. Kind of the same old, same old. You know, I'm not gonna lie,
Hmm.
man. I've been pretty upset about, excuse me, the beginning of this month. Um, so far, at least, about Whoopi and about Brian Flores, man. That always that
And this is
really
Black
pissed me
History
off.
Month too,
And it's
Wayne.
Black History Month. That's what's pissing me off.
Damn.
That's what's really pissing me off. It's like, damn,
What's going
this
on
is
here?
1 week into it, and this is some new shit. This is some different shit that we got going on, man. So that's been putting a damper on my week, and I've been trying to get my, excuse me, I've been trying to get my thoughts together for all of that, man, because it's so I don't know, man. We might have like a spirited episode, man, because that shit be
I,
really bothering me.
I think that's a good thing. It's good for us to talk about. But first of all, let's just say, of course, as always, man, thank y'all for joining us. I don't think we got no RIPs this week, right?
Yeah,
Anybody
RIP to
pass
Tom
away?
Brady's career.
Oh,
RIP to that nigga, yeah.
man, he been died and got resurrected. My
Man,
Edgy Obelin, she always be saying that he's an android. She call him Android Tom or Cyborg Tom. I'm so sorry because his whole leg on fell off one time. He got back in the game like threw like 15 touchdowns, and they say he was cheating in the same game. He threw 4 touchdowns. So I don't know, bro. Do
let
you
me
think he's the
ask.
goat of goats though? Oh, go
That's
ahead,
what I was,
go ahead.
man. I was about to ask you that, bro.
You
I
was
was
about
about
to
to say Tom Brady or LeBron. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
which one is
okay.
has a
Who's the better goat?
longevity? Yeah.
I like LeBron better than Tom
Hmm.
because LeBron is more of a social warrior. And
Yep.
honestly, you taught me that when we talked about
Oh,
Space
man.
Jam,
Yeah,
because I still can't watch that movie,
man, it's such a
but
good
I
movie, man.
feel where you coming from in terms of like the importance in terms of us as a people,
Yeah,
right? Boom.
yeah.
Like what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like I hated Tenet, but I watched it like four
No, I just
times
think it,
because I
man.
love the actor.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the actor in it was dope. Everything else just ain't make sense, but I liked him. I like him on screen. I like his Netflix movies and stuff. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Old boy's
John
son.
David Washington.
I love that dude. I can't wait for
Yeah.
him to jump into the Marvel Universe or DC or whatever he gonna do. He gonna do something. You know what I mean? Obviously he coming. So it's a beautiful blessing to have him around. But in terms of Tom, statistically, yeah, he's the goats of goats. Well, he been to 9 championships or something,
Yeah.
won 7 or something, whatever. He's a good, but statistically, he ain't that great in the regular season. Like
But
he
I
just
mean, does
ain't.
that matter? Does that matter?
I mean, I
It's like
know
he gets to
everybody be
the
like, yo,
promised land,
championships matter. But like in terms of LeBron, like LeBron's gonna get the scoring title, he gonna get probably the
Yeah.
assist title.
Yeah.
He's a power forward, technically. He's 6'9, 260. So,
Hmm.
like, for him to be that agile, I feel like LeBron is like the GOAT of GOATs, certainly of what he's done in terms of socially.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's the thing that put me over the top. I love Tom Brady. I think Tom is like something that you ain't gonna never see again.
Hmm.
6th round pick, slow as dust, you know what I'm saying, or slow as snails, can't really throw. He don't got no big arm, but he's
Hmm.
pinpoint accurate, works perfect in systems. He has discipline with his body, his spiritual, and you know what I mean, his family and shit.
Yeah.
But I still think LeBron is the GOAT of GOATs. And I don't know like how many cats can sit there and be like, oh, can take on all the pressure of all the social stuff and hold that on his back, build schools up in his name for
Right.
his community. And like I
Right.
say before, I know all y'all think so, but unless you've been to Akron, you really don't fucking know what's going on. Cause that boy came from the bottom. There's
Yeah.
nothing in Akron. Like that's a horrible place to live, bro. Like there's no jobs, man.
Mhm.
Like unless you're a nurse, a drug dealer, or a cop. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. Like ain't nothing to do out there, man. So he made it out. I really like LeBron. He got a chip for Cleveland. They ain't gonna never win a championship ever fuck
Ever,
again in the
boy.
world
Ever,
ever.
man.
You know what I
They
mean?
better
Ever,
appreciate the
nigga. Like
shit out of that.
exactly. So
Yeah.
but in terms of time, football wise, like so Dante said exactly. Hammond said he liked Joe Montana better. I feel where
Okay.
Hammond
I
is
feel
coming
you on it.
from.
Yeah, me too. Me
Uh,
too.
I think Joe Montana is a better overall player, obviously, like better arm talent. But if Joe Montana had played now, you know what I'm saying, he probably would be like really like the GOAT. He probably would have went to 10 chips, you know? So, but Patrick Mahomes might overtake this dude's legacy. Joe Burrow might overtake his legacy.
I see
What's
Mahomes
the
doing it.
what's the tall white boy that be running all the time in Buffalo? Josh Allen. He might take his
Boy, they
legacy.
got that, man.
Josh Allen's nasty with it. So, and like Dante just said, that Montana and Rice combo, that was Rice is the GOAT in terms of wide receivers.
Right.
So and that's because they both work together. So basically, my whole point is that straight up and down, Tom Brady, rest in peace to his career, like you said. But in terms of him
You had to
being
do that, dog.
in terms of him being the GOAT of all sports,
you ain't feeling it.
I mean, you could put Serena up in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You can.
like
You
if you want
can.
to keep it $150, you
You
know what I'm
can.
saying? What's the dude that was getting raw roided up? Sammy, not the other one, not Sammy, but the other dude. Y'all know what I'm
Mark
talking
McGuire?
about. Nah, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds
Okay.
was
Yeah,
great
man, that's some
before that.
bullshit too, man. They didn't put
Yeah,
him
they
in the
didn't
Hall
get
of
in.
Fame. Look
Him or
here.
the other boy.
I'm gonna say this: baseball is the most boring shit on the planet. I think I would rather watch NASCAR than baseball on some real shit. And look here, I don't care if he took steroids or not. I do not care if he took steroids or not. He still had to hit them boring ass, but he had to wait for the pitch boringly for a fucking lifetime for the right pitch. And then he had to hit that shit out. That's entertaining as hell. That dude made baseball entertaining as shit. He deserves to go in the Hall of Fame for that, just alone. I don't care about no damn steroids, man.
Look, steroids is a part of all sports. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Sorry. And Pat McAfee, Pat McAfee show, whatever it is. Yeah, thank you. Pat McAfee. I watch that show every day. Mm-hmm. He said, thank God for all the steroids because it allowed for like us to see the difference between superhumans and humans. And now we have all the horse steroids is all gone. Now it's like better steroids. So you don't mess with your man parts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and don't make you be up in this bitch. And you know what I mean?
Boy, raging.
Eating hay and shit. Yeah, raging out, throwing your wife through walls and shit. You don't be doing none of that. Now you got the regular good steroids. And all those people paved the way. They paved the way. So they really deserve a pat on the back for getting the regular steroids here. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know nobody that personally take roids, but I'm pretty sure that Tom did because his leg just magically reappeared.
Because he's so fucking small. Because he's so small. Like, where is it going? Like, I can't.
But he's
like,
also
even
49.
when I watch wrestling, like I watch pro wrestling, and somebody can be like, "Oh, that person was on steroids." I'm like, but they still chubby as shit. Like, what are you doing? Like, where's the steroid going, bro? Like, you just pumping out.
You gotta still work out. You just can't shoot steroids. You gotta do some push-ups.
You just take it and go to sleep, nigga. What are you doing?
You can't take and eat like some donuts, nigga. Nah, you gotta work out. Like this one dude I knew he was drinking creatine. And I'm like, oh, so when you go, you know what I mean? When you go to the gym, he was like, what?
Nope. He fucked up.
I was like, you can't just drink that shit, man. Like your arms are gonna be just flat with water pockets in them. He was like, oh dang, yeah, I gotta start going to the gym. I'm like, oh, this.
And you know what? I don't know. I think it may be creatine because I think I may have tried to use that once. And I think it's one of those things where it's when you start working out, they say if you're gonna take it, you have to use it, right? And that's what it is. I think it was creatine. You take it and you have to work the fuck out in order for it to work. Otherwise, it's just gonna come out of you. And bro, when it comes out of you, it fucking comes out of you. Like, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, you didn't. That shit's coming all the way out. I think it's somebody who works the fuck out. Let me know, man, because that if you don't use that shit like I don't know if it happens with a pre-workout too, but a creatine, when you take that shit and you go to the gym, boy, you better do work. Otherwise, that shit go come out of you in the wrong way.
Yeah, if certainly if you don't get no pure creatine, you get that
Mhm.
stuff you get at Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super duper creatine with a little bit of a pig's heart in it. You know what I'm
Damn.
saying? Like you go ahead and drink that shit and you ain't working out, bro.
Yeah.
You gonna you're gonna be looking like that dude thinner after he got done. See, Dante,
Great energy, by the way.
our resident, workout expert said
Mhm.
that he used creatine during bulking sessions. Right.
Yeah.
Bulking season.
Fucking
So
season.
imagine
Yeah.
if you don't. So you know what I mean? You sitting there, you bulking, but you ain't pushing shit. It's gonna get big as a motherfucker. See, look, he even know the word for it.
Right.
Monohydrate. Boom. See? So all right, I don't know what we're talking about, but
No, real quick.
Tommy,
Let me
rest in
holler
peace.
at at Court and the Edge of Opulence. Like you're right, Courtney. I've been to baseball games before, and you're right. When you're there, it's fun as
It's
hell.
it's fun, but when you
Fun
watch
as
it on
hell.
TV, it's like the
Mhm.
ball's coming out. He
Mhm.
had 242 last year. This year he's in a little bit of a slump. Dun,
Yo,
dun, dun,
baseball is
dun.
the only sport where you can look at the stats. You could check out the stats yourself as the announcer and watch the game at the same time and not miss shit. So when they were like, his stats were 242 last year, they're literally checking that shit right then, right before they say it, because ain't nothing else going the fuck on because it's
Nah.
baseball, bro. So I think,
But the
so I
thing I
just,
do like it being at the games is good food, good drinks, you know what I'm saying? Good atmosphere. I've never seen a fight at a baseball game, but I've definitely seen a fight at a football game. And they'll play like live banging ass music when the players come walk out. They
mhm,
don't do that shit on
mhm,
TV like that. So they be
mhm.
playing like we was there when we went to our last baseball game. They was like, I just got a bottle of Ciroc. I think it was Riff Raff, and somebody was playing Riff Raff, and it was just like banging. And
Yeah,
they come out and they got struck out. But still, yeah, it's just a whole thing. It's the lights. It's a beautiful experience. It's
I
outside.
agree.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, the
But
whole
on
ambiance.
TV is the worst. It's the worst sport ever. And I like NASCAR video games, but watching that shit is just sleepy time music. Like it's just sleepy music. Like I don't care what nobody say. So all right, so Dante provides some more expert advice. He said a common misconception is that you shrink when you use creatine and then stop working out. If you stop working out and stop for a period of time, you're going to shrink regardless. So he
Now,
does have a point.
now put shrinking to the side though. If you don't use that in the gym, Dante, you will shit it out,
Do you get the
right?
bubble gut? What he's asking.
Yeah, you man, the bubblest of guts.
But
Like
he
you have to
said
stop what you're doing.
was using that
Who me?
monohydrate.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
The
you
shit just
you not
said
talking. You
creatine.
talking about from other niggas. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
yeah.
You ain't reading the recipes.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's this in it? You're like, oh shit. All right, cool. I'm about to get big. Okay. So Dante, you get back to us with that
Yeah, yeah, he'll
answer.
answer. He'll answer that.
Let's go ahead and get into what we wanted to really talk about today. And I'm gonna let Big Homie Wayne go first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know y'all heard about Whoopi Goldberg and this whole thing that happened. Let me frame it, and then we'll let he says shit and piss out of any supplement that your body doesn't use. Good point, Dante. So you're gonna piss the shit if you don't use creatine. So you out there use creatine, but actually work out, or you're gonna be shitting and pissing everywhere. All right, cool. So from other holes that usually don't shit and piss from. So just make sure that you're using it right. Okay, let's get to the business.
Right.
Whoopi Goldberg said on her show, The View, that and I'm paraphrasing, right? Because I'm too lazy to pull up what she exactly said. But she said that the Holocaust wasn't about race. Because it was two sets of white people killing each other. And Twitter and then the world kind of just went off its kilter and basically canceled Whoopi Goldberg. She got suspended from The View for 2 weeks, right, Wayne?
Yep, 2 weeks in Black History Month.
Yeah, she got suspended for 2 weeks, and she's thinking about leaving the show. She's been on there for what? Almost 20 years?
No, no, ain't been that
Oh,
goddamn
I'm
long,
tripping.
man.
I thought that
Yeah,
shit been on
bro.
since like
No,
2000, bro.
the show itself has been on for the longest time.
Oh, okay.
Whoopi been on that for like less than 10 years, I think.
Really?
If that long, I think so. Let me do a double check. You keep
All right.
explaining it.
So she's been on there for a minute. You know what I mean? Whoopi Goldberg has been on there for a long time. She is I don't know if she's liberal or what, but I would say she's definitely for the side of African American rights and those different type of rights that affect all minority people. She's definitely big into that. Now,
Mhm.
if you ain't in your mind, let this click. Let me just let one thing click before I let Wayne go and give his opinion. Her last name, her stage name, is Goldberg.
Never thought of that, bro. I never fucking thought of that.
So I don't know about y'all. I know two Goldbergs. One is a wrestler, and the other one is an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
And he is from the
Judaism. Yeah.
Judaism part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Peoples. I ain't never met another black Goldberg. She actually self-identifies as a Jewish person.
Is that so?
Yep. So her dad was a Buddhist. Her mom was a Christian. Her father family, they do all the religions. She's
Mhm.
not religious, but she identifies as a Jewish person.
Okay.
Y'all
Okay.
know anything about, Whoopi? She used to usually only date white men. You know what I'm saying?
The only person I've ever seen her date was Ted Danson, bro.
Really,
Ever.
like
Ever.
ever. Like
Man
she
and
is
woman.
yeah. She dates men and women, but the only person we saw was Ted Danson, and she's a eclectic type of cat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Sister Act is getting canceled. So
No, it's not.
Wayne, I'm just joking.
Okay, all right. Because nah, bro, don't do that shit. I want to see that remake, bro.
Wayne, what do you think?
Um,
Do you think that Whoopi Goldberg was right?
all right. So first and foremost, I got the information. You were pretty close. Like she had been on the show
Okay,
since
cool.
2007. So almost 20 years.
About
It's a
15.
while.
A little
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
15.
I don't know where to start with this, man. Um, this may be a little
He did.
maybe some people may not want to hear this, but I'm gonna say it. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm not trying to be rude or mean or anything. I'm not trying to take anything away from any other culture. I am an ally. I group with majority of people, but I do have my disagreements, and this is one of those things that I disagree on. Um, I, listen, being Jewish is not a race. It is a religion, and yes, it is a deeper religion where it's something like it's something that you're born into, but it's
Mhm.
also something that you can stray away from. It's just like every other religion. So if you don't want to be Jewish and you want to be Christian or you want to be something else, you can be. It's a choice. It's a decision, is what I'm trying to say. Right now, it's
Okay.
also your decision to stick to being a Jewish person and stick to your roots and learning what everything that you got to learn to do what you got to do, live how you want to live. I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's a choice. That's not why it's not a race. I say, okay, here's my thing. Because you and I spoke about this before, right? And I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this, right? And last time I said it to you, you was like, "No, man, you're wrong. You're wrong." And I may be wrong, but I'm still going to say it because it's kind of what I believe. Jewish people, are they black? I didn't ask if they could be black. I'm saying generally, are they black?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Everybody in the comments, go ahead and respond. But me personally,
Take
no,
some
I
time.
don't. I don't traditionally think Jewish
Jewish
people are
people.
are of a colored minority. Black,
Got you.
Puerto Rican, Mexican, none of that.
Got you.
Indian, none of that.
Now, if you ain't black, you're white. I don't care about that POC person of color shit that the others try to put on everybody. They still try to find a way to group us in or lump us up in all into one. But that's why they say POC. So black people can't talk about black people without being put into that POC, and we have to talk about all hues of skin. We're speaking generally to us. If you're not black, you're white. And what I mean by that is if you're white, you're safe. Straight up. Jewish people generally are white. Excuse me. That means that they are safe. If you see a group of white people, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to say, "Hey, look at all those Jewish people over there," because you don't know if they're Jewish or not. If you see a group, now they may dress a certain way to make you say, "Hey, they
It's
may
the
be Jewish,"
hair.
but
It's
yeah,
the hair.
usually
It's the hair.
But really, if you see them like gathered around, you're not going to automatically think Jewish. If you see a group of black people, you will say, hey, look at all those black people over there, because that's race. Race is the color of your skin, right? Yes, black people can be Jewish. We've said that. Now let's take that, put that in a box, and put it over here. All right. We're talking about white people who are Jewish. It's not about race, just like Whoopi Goldberg said. It was about religion. I do believe that the Holocaust happened. I believe in the Holocaust. I believe that millions of people were killed, but it was because what they not only what they believe, but what they were born to believe. So even if they did, like a lot of parents would disown their children or their family if they didn't believe what they believed anymore. And you're talking about back in those times, there wasn't no straying away back then. If you were born Jewish, you stayed like that. You stayed that way and you practiced it. So
Okay.
it was all about religion. Hitler did what he did. He found a difference between him and these other people, and he murdered them for that difference. That difference was not race. It had absolutely nothing to do with race. Just like she said, these people are getting angry because, for one, there's the social media and you can get angry, so everybody can get mad and just throw their fist in the air and get upset and shit, right? You have to be heard, you can be listened to, right? But that has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with anything. They just want to be heard. They just want to listen. Listen. Let me pull something up. Let me read this to you. This is from the Anti-Defamation League, right?
All right.
So what they did is just yesterday or the day before, they decided to revise the definition of race because their own definition of race was too narrow. Now, that would mean that Whoopi essentially was correct. Because, for one, if it's so narrow, she found that narrow area, I guess, to where it's like, no, this isn't racism. It was about religion, or it's about, people just hating each other, whatever the case is, right? And two, now you're trying to change the definition of something that's been defined for ages. You want that changed because it doesn't fit what you think, what you believe it to be, because you want it to be about race, because you want Jewish to be race. And it's not. It's damn near a belief. It's strictly about what you believe. Listen here. The definition they changed it to, and listen, this is what they said. The group's new and interim definition. What the fuck is an interim definition?
Till we
Like, you're
figure
gonna
out the
put
rest.
this right. You're just gonna put some shit in and be like, okay,
Till
this
we
is
figure
what it's
out.
gonna be
Till we
for
figure
right
out
now.
what's
So
going on.
everybody can shut up. Like, what are you talking about? I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent, y'all. I apologize. Give me a second. All right. It says that racism occurs when individuals or institutions show more favorable evaluation or treatment of an individual or group based on race, ethnicity. Nothing that Whoopi said has to do, or I mean, everything she said has to do with race, because it's not about that. But they're trying to make it about that, and it's not. So my thing is, Whoopi did not deserve to be suspended. It's just this people want to get up in flames. People want to get their arms all riled up, but
Okay.
that's not the case, man. I'm trying to find something else, man. I'm trying to find, I got to read through it, but I truly do not appreciate how we can't say anything about this. Is like back when Nick Cannon has said, like, black people are the real, I guess, the real Asiatic. What is it that he said? And Jewish people got all up in arms again about that shit, so
Well,
listen.
he said, oh, to go ahead and clarify real quick. I'm sorry. What
No,
he
go
said
ahead.
was, he said that Jewish people are basically like the ones that rule the world on the low. And that has to do actually with propaganda that was provided by the Nazis. And they're the ones that started that belief system where Jewish people run the world, and that's the reason why they justified killing them. But go ahead, bro, with your
Okay.
final point.
All right.
That was what
Thank
he said. And he because he had one of them dudes from one of them groups back in the day, Public
Yeah,
Enemy,
Public Enemy. Yeah.
Professor Griff or something. Professor
Mm-hmm.
Griff was on there and they was talking
Mm-hmm.
about it. I met Professor Griff and they was sitting there talking about that. So that's what he was talking about. That's what Professor Griff believes. But go ahead, bro.
Let me. So I got this out of a article that was taken out of a book. The book is
Mhm.
called Critical Race Theory: An Introduction. All right. The writer says early in our history, Jews were considered non-white. That is on par with African Americans. Over time, they earned the prerogatives and the social standing of whites by acquiring wealth, right? Sometimes by legal or underground activity, just like white people did. So I think
Okay.
if anything, white people just realized that yeah, they're white too. I personally don't believe there was a time where Jewish people were considered not white unless that was back when Hitler thought so, and that's why he did what he did. But
Mhm.
no, they're always, excuse me, white, and that's why
Mhm.
black people can be Jewish because it's a choice to be Jewish. White people can't be black. You can't change your race. You're not Rachel Dolezal in this motherfucker, boy.
I'm about to
You
say
can't.
you
You
better
can't
you got to
change
be
it.
careful with that.
You can't,
Yes, you
man.
can. Yes,
You
you
can
can.
tan all you want to. You can bleach all you want to. You still
Yeah.
what it is that
Cause
you
Sammy
are.
Sosa's a whole different
My
color than
God,
these
boy. That
motherfuckers.
dude don't even look
Sam,
Caucasian. He looks
Sam,
horrible. But
he
I don't
looks.
consider Jewish people non-white. And my thing is they don't have the same struggle as black people do because they're not still, I mean, it's still a part of their history.
Right. Okay.
Holocaust is still a part of their history, but they're not still going through it. They've gotten over it or above it, not over it. I don't want to say over it like it was a small deal. It absolutely wasn't, but they've gone above it and they've exceeded, so they don't have to constantly worry about like the country bringing them down or keeping them down. See, like with slavery, it may be over, but it's not really over. They just found other ways to make us slaves, and then there's other people that are falling into this trap that they've created as well. Those are just like kind of people that just lag along, or I'm sorry you didn't get your life together. We didn't mean to do this to y'all. This is for the other people. You
Mhm.
just kind of fell into it. You know, so you know what? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm rambling. I don't see Jewish people as non-white. I don't see the Holocaust being racial. It wasn't. It was about religion, and it was about a man who just wanted to murder and kill because he absolutely could. And when you have somebody like that, like a Saddam, like who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop these people? A Bin Laden. Who's really going to stop him? So I'm rambling. You know, tell me how you feel about it. People in the comments, let's see how they feel about it as well. Phyllis, what do you think, man? What do you think,
Let's
bro?
go. Let's go to the comments first.
All
So
right.
Dante said, I think he was responding to the comment that you said that if you're not black, you're white. And Dante said Mexicans. Question mark, question mark, which is
Um,
funny. I think he should have said Latinos, but it's
right,
funny how he
right.
said
And you know what's funny?
Mexicans.
You know what's funny is you know what? Sidebar. I always hated Mexicans because I always feel like it's racist to say like the N word. So I always say like
True that.
Latinos or something like that because I feel like that's a word that they share amongst each other. I don't want to ever say like, oh, look at that Mexican over there. I feel like that's rude. But I also feel the same way about the word Jew. I've never liked that word. Even as a young kid, I felt like that was disrespectful because people, the way people use it, even if they use it themselves, it's like, oh, I'm a Jew or we're Jews and Jews. I hate that shit so much. I'll just say, look, that's Jewish people, Jewish
Mm-hmm.
person. I've always hated that. But going back to what he was saying, um, so what I mean by when I say if you're not black, you're white is if you're white, you're safe. You know what I mean? And Hispanic people, no,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not going to
gonna
say that. I'm
yeah,
not going to
because
say that.
you
They're on
yeah,
the
that's
same
it's
end as
no.
us. They're on the same end as us. You know what I mean?
All right,
So,
so just in case anybody don't know this, that's right now watching, I'm Afro Latino.
mhm.
So my dad was African American and Indian. We was Blackfoot Indian descendant. My mom was a what they call a Black Puerto Rican. Black Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico is like someone that's of a darker shade. So what I think what Wayne is basically trying to say is if you don't have dark or melanin skin, you are a person that can be perceived and thought of as white. So even if you're fair skinned, there's a movie on Netflix about people that are fair skinned. This black lady is fair skinned, and she's married to this
Passing.
white guy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's called Passing. Yeah.
Passing. Mhm.
And there was a whole movie about how that actually used to happen. And people didn't even know. Certainly if you didn't have like, African American features, wide
Mhm.
nose, bigger lips, things of that nature, certain cheekbone distinctions, all that crap. We all know that. So I feel where Dante's coming from. Yes, minority people in general. I mean, Asian people, all of those people, they're not considered white, obviously, right? They really can't get confused with white people, Indian people, that stuff. Like, just by looking at it. But also in the comments, Edgy Oblin said, "Fuck them people. Go ahead and quit."
And on some real shit, man, the View is a real. It's become that show, man. It's like the white people's Joe Budden almost. It's become
uh,
real problematic, bro.
I think that the View is a clear indication of America. It does promote a lot of outrage. Every time the girl that what was her name? Her dad ran for president.
Megan,
You
what's her
know what I'm talking
face?
about.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
really
McCain.
like yeah, McCain. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure McCain won't run for president, but she left the show because she kept getting canceled and there's a lot of disagreements. But you got people, you got like 6 liberal people and then one conservative. It's always going to be like, why are you on the show? Like you're going to obviously lose. You can't
Yeah.
outpoint 6 people unless you like a super genius, and she doesn't
Mhm.
come across as a super genius. Edgy Opulence said, well, Wayne said, definitions are updated throughout time. As society changes and progresses, so does the English language.
And
And
see, that's what,
I,
and that's, and in some things. So here's my thing. I understand that, but some things you cannot change. I believe more in people changing their gender than I
Mhm.
believe you trying to change the definition of a word to try to fit you. So if you're a man and you want to be a woman, do you. I'm with you. Do your thing. But when it comes to like you want to change the definition of a word because what nobody thinking about this shit until it was brought up on this show by this black woman, and now all of a sudden it's like, and you're admitting defeat. By the way, you want to change that, so you're saying, "Well, let me reread this." Oh shit, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that it was about race, and we want it to be about race because we're a race too. They want to be a race, and you're not a race. It's a religion, bro. So no, man, nobody thought about this shit. Now you want to change it to fit your narrative, and that is not okay. That is not okay to me. I don't
All right.
appreciate that, man. You're trying to fit into the same boat as us African Americans are, and this isn't for you, bro. You went through your shit, and we went through our shit too, But you can't jump in the same boat as us because we're doing this shit because of some shit we can't control. You can change your religion. We can't change this, bro. So
Okay. So let me go ahead and give my opinion on this
yeah,
whole topic.
yes.
This to me is the reason why we need critical race theory taught in schools.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really about like the definition of critical race in general. It's about understanding race and history of race and racism throughout the globe. Because she is wrong.
Mm.
Not in the statement of where she come from in terms of black people and white people. Nah, she's right about that. Straight up. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, she's right. Not the fact that she said that when she said in the interview with Colbert, I believe she did one of the late shows this week, and she said if the KKK is running down the street chasing her and they got Jewish people with her, she running from them too. Word. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
She's right. And she said if Jewish people are with me, we all getting chased by the Klan, we running together. That's right. But just to what the actual things that she said, this is why she was wrong.
Okay.
During the entire uh leading up to the Nazis taking over Germany, right? The whole beef was centered easily around the fact that they lost World War One and they had to pay like technically like reparations and give to all of the countries, right? Where they lost because that was all World War One was about, like Germany and those things, and just different, like a different like fight, right? Compared to World War II, which was really about stopping Nazi Germany and the Axis powers, or the Axis powers from dominating the world. Hitler constantly said that they were a less than race, that they were the race that were going to destroy the world. And Hitler and the Nazis wanted there to be an Asiatic people. Not an Aryan nation. They wanted to be an Aryan nation, have a clear race lineage. And that was basically based off the book that he built. That is history 101. He classified them as a race. Now, Jewish people have very distinct features. But the word Jew does not mean that it is not classified technically as a race. It is classified as being white. But the reason why Hitler wanted to kill them was because of their race. He thought they were a race. So that's why the war happened. But to the bigger discussion that happened on Twitter, where people was like, hey, yo, she's wrong because she said all of this and all of that, blah, blah, blah. She's wrong because she said that. She's not wrong in terms of the fact that if white people are warring with white people, there may be underlying reasons for it, but it's different when it's white people versus black people. It's difference between the Civil War. It's a difference between slavery and them coming to get us and those things. You know what I'm saying? It's a totally different type of thing. And I think her point was comparisons of struggles is very, very different. Because Jewish people can, even though they're hated by the Klan, even though they're hated by neo-Nazis, even though their synagogues get shot up, even though they get murdered, even though they still have problems in Germany, it's a different struggle that faces us, because when we walk outside, people automatically kind of have this stereotype about us because of the color of our skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you can't control. It's not until I talk, it's not until I give my actions, it's not until I actually do certain things that people say, oh, this black man might not be the one that's going to kill me, or I shouldn't be afraid. But as soon as they see me on face value, they already have a preconceived notion of me. That's what I think she was trying to say. But white people versus white people was what happened in that war, because they're both from, the Caucasus Mountains descent. But Jewish people, in terms of why they got murdered by the Nazis did consider them a lesser race. They also considered black people a lesser race as well. And their plan supposedly was to eventually come into America and take over America as well, invade, kill everybody that did not join the Nazis and join the Aryan race. And we were one of those people. Black people, Mexicans, Latinos, Asians, all of us were going to be destroyed because we did not meet that race that they wanted to be the supreme race. That's where a lot of our Jewish propaganda come from. That's the reason why I believe there is issues with Jewish people and black people. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of black people that don't like Jewish people based off of so much of that propaganda that we've been fed. And that all comes from that time. So back to my main point, schools are trash. We need critical race theory, because it shouldn't take Twitter to teach us about people's thought process on their own culture. Like, this is the reason why we need knowledge. Like, and I'm glad that this happened so we could all learn and have discussions about it. But this is some shit that we should have been known about years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's a fucking failure on the whole government and the whole system about us not having these conversations. It takes the fucking View to make this shit happen. And I'm sick of the cancel culture bullshit. She shouldn't have got fucking canceled during this 2-week period. She made a mistake. She might have misspoke. Some people got offended. It is what it is. She addressed it. She apologized on Twitter, on the fucking Late Show, and on The View. Let's keep it pushing. Teach each other. Let's learn from each other. Mm-hmm. But niggas rather get mad and shit, but nobody really want to box. But that's a whole nother point. So that's how I feel about it. School to teach us more about history so we can understand everyone's perspective.
Yeah.
This is just a failure of all of us just being, unfortunately, stupid, because we don't understand each other and we don't care to.
Okay. Have a couple things to say about that. First off, you said that Hitler is the one who classed them as a race.
Yeah, he's the one that classified them as a race, and
Who cares?
the whole
But who cares? That doesn't mean that. So here's my thing: if I class myself as a millionaire, does that make me so? No, he classed them as a race because just like the history lesson you gave us, at the end of the day, he just wanted to kill them because
well,
they
that
did
was
not
his
believe
basis
what he
of
wanted to
it.
believe. But he created something. He created them. He created making them a race so he can murder them. And you brought up the white versus white thing, and that could be a reason why he made it a race. He didn't want it to be white versus white because just that's just like they say black on black crime. I say all the time, there's no such thing as black on black crime. A black person kill a black person. It's just regular good old fashioned crime, you know. So to not make it a white versus white thing, these people are Jewish. That means that they're non-white. So not only did he want to have it an Aryan nation, he wanted to be a Christian Aryan nation as well. He wanted them to believe the same thing. Now I
Oh,
understand
hold
that
up.
you said that he. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Wayne. The Nazis weren't Christian.
Yeah, I
Mm-mm.
know.
No,
Yeah.
they were they weren't classified as a Christian race. They actually hated the Roman Church. That's the reason why they like invaded England and shit.
Mhm.
They were actually classified more like mystics. They believed that Hitler was the embodiment of God.
Oh.
Yeah, see, they were, and that's the reason why they searched for so many Masonic temples and shit like that. That's the reason why they went to Egypt and they lost in Egypt
Mhm.
after they basically almost conquered it, but they ended up getting pushed back because they were looking for the lost books of Alexander from the library that burned down. Yeah, they were all like super, like they were into like space and shit before we
Mhm.
was.
So let me ask
Yeah,
you. So let me ask you. So that could be a reason why they killed him as well. Then so
they
they didn't even
believed that they were the devil race. They really
listen. I
believed that
just feel
they
like
and us was.
Hitler made them a race so he could murder them. But they are not a race, regardless of what regardless of what Hitler said or what he made them. That's personally what I believe. I'm not trying to shit on your point if it seems like I am. It's just like you can't create something, just like you can't change the definition. You can't create or make somebody something that they're not. You can't make a whole group of people a race. You killed them strictly off their beliefs. You did. That doesn't make them a race, man. And you brought up that white versus white thing. Now they got me thinking like, they
Mhm.
made them a race so it wouldn't be white versus white. It gave them a reason. It gave Hitler a reason to murder them. That's,
I also I'm just gonna say that history and his speeches and the Mein Kampf it disagrees with your point, but
mm-hmm.
I'm just going off of what history says. But what
Right.
I will also say, which is kind of really is kind of cool, is that well let's go to the comments. Hamid said Hitler wears Hermans.
Yeah.
He does. He does. Shout out to West Side Gunner. And Edgy said they were the original Scientologists. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Them and like the Mesopotamians and all those goofies. Edgy also said, "Who the hell owns Webster's?"
Shit. Facts.
I think Webster's got a website, so maybe we all do. But I remember the Encyclopedia Man. I guess I'm old like that. He didn't bring his ass where I was living at though, but they used to be him. And Courtney said she good. We'll teach our kids about race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can understand that. Self teaching your kids is important, right? But
Right.
like I said, history points to what the Nazis believed. But what I would say is that in terms of the people that hate like African Americans in general, right? The Klan, neo Nazis, all of these psycho hate groups, they also always hate Jews too.
Right. But
So
that's because of religion. That's because of belief. Like
I
they
think
hate
that it
us because of skin, because they don't understand. They hate Jewish people because, for one, for Hitler to have murdered them, there have to be a reason why. And I think that that's their frame of mind, first and foremost. There had to be a reason why this person hated them so much that he wanted to eradicate their whole people, right? So, with that, that's something to agree with. You see what I mean? And also, if those people who are the Klan, neo Nazis, they believe in God, they believe in they're Christians, they believe in Jesus. So if this person over here believes that that the Jewish people are the reasons why Jesus died, then
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna hate them because they're being taught to not like these people because of what they believe. So they must think that Hitler was right and whoever created slavery is right or whatever the case, you know. So
Well, they hate them more off of culture. So their culture is like, you know how they be saying like Jewish people are like penny pinchers. If you
mhm,
drop a penny, they'll go ahead and scramble on the ground and pick them up. Those are stereotypes in their culture.
right,
So it's really not about, I don't think, me personally, just from what I understand about, these hate groups and the Nazis and shit, and I ain't in them. So this was me reading. What I've read is that it's more about their culture and these stereotypical psycho beliefs that they are like the elite race. So, like, for example, me and Courtney watched this documentary of this guy. It's called The White Underbelly. He's on YouTube. You should check him out. He actually interviewed a Klansman. And the Klansman said, I believe that there should be separation. He doesn't believe against hate and killing them, right? But he
mhm,
wants to be a separate nation. He wants Jews to have their own space, black people to have their own space, white people to have their own space, right? Even though he didn't mention Jews during his whole thing, but he at the end he did. He said nigger and then he said Jews. He doesn't like Jewish people because of what they believe is cultural differences and what they're doing to the world. What they're doing to the world. Their religion is so similar to Christianity that I don't think it's about their religion, but the word Jew is about
the stereotypes.
it's about a people. It's a
Yeah,
Jewish. It's the people. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. So they don't have like actual classification as race, but I believe that that's coming. And a lot of them do compare themselves to being their own race. When they
right.
say, "Yeah, I'm a Jew," they're not talking about religion. They're talking about because they don't practice that shit. They talking about their culture, where they're from, their significance, their distinct features like their hair and how they live their lives. And I think
Oh,
that's what these hate groups hate. And they hate us too. So we should really band together. Jewish people and black people should
yeah,
be together
I agree.
because they hate them and they hate us. And they will kill both of us quick.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I just still disagree. I feel like that's them saying that we don't like them because of their stereotypes or because we believe that we in the stereotype that they own everything or they think that they're a
Yeah.
superior group of people.
And you've
I
heard these
think
things, right? I'm not
yes,
saying nothing new to
absolutely,
you, right? You've
absolutely.
heard all this shit. Yeah.
I think that they're saying that to give themselves a reason to hate. So when they say that to people that ask them like, why do you hate Jewish people? Why do you hate whatever? They'll give that reason and it won't be a racist reason or a hateful reason.
And you could be
Because the
right,
real
Wayne. You
reason,
could be
because the
right. But
real reason is
yeah.
because they killed or they think they believe that Jewish people killed Jesus. I still think it comes around to religion. They just don't want to say, hey, it's religion. But it strictly is. It is. They're just making up things to not sound so hateful, to give it a reason as to why it's okay to be hateful towards this group of people. Same with
I
us,
mean,
you
I
know.
feel your point, but I'm just talking from a historical perspective.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
I'm a big history buff. I'm always
Mhm.
going to talk about history. And I'm just saying that's what historically happened. When you read my cough, it's all about the stereotypes of Jewish people destroying this nation with their crazy like thoughts about these Jewish people and the way they move. And it's all cultural based, man. But their religion, it's light. Like they don't really. I don't know how their religion could cause people to hate them, but people hate because they want to hate. Like
Mhm.
they hate us also because of all the stereotypes. Like you know what I mean? The color of our skin is just a beautiful added bonus to make them easier targets. But they
See, I
hate us
think our
because our
stereotype
stereotypes.
is an added bonus. I like to think. I think our
Well,
stereotype is an added bonus. I think it's the skin at first.
I believe it's different. I believe that they came over here because they thought we were simpletons. That's the stereotype. Us being just stupid, us being lazy. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Us not having no scruples, us not being able to read and write the correct way, us
Mhm.
being quick to violence, us being full of nigga shit. Like all of those are stereotypes. And then you put the skin on it, and we look so different compared to them. They think that we look like monkey dwellers and shit, and jungle monkeys. That's why they call us coons, because the rings around the eye, all that type of racist rhetoric. They got the same things for Jewish people. The same amount of hate they got for us, they hate Jews too. They really hate them. So either way, I feel like no matter what, like I said, I believe what she said was wrong because it came from an uneducated place. But I
I don't
believe
feel
her
like.
point. I'm just saying historically she was wrong. But in terms
But
of
yeah,
what her
but
point was, her point was right. Her point was right. White people versus white people is not the same as white people versus black people. It's a different type of evil, killing, murder, kidnapping shit. It's a different type of hate. It's just a different type of hate, man. And
so
it's
look here, real
hate
quick.
is
I got
different.
the definition of race is any one of the groups that humans are often divided into based on physical traits regarded as common among people of shared ancestry. Now you keep talking about like they have physical traits. I don't believe that they do. Like the little curly hairs and shit that the rabbis have to do. That's what they have to do. That is a physical feature that they do themselves. Right. So yes, you can
Oh,
tell from a block away that that's a Jewish person or that's a rabbi because of the hair that they twist themselves. Like black skin isn't something like that's more of a physical trait. Like black people have like, these shapely noses. You know what I mean? We have the hair. Those are physical traits that I think make up a race. You know what I mean? So I just don't feel like Jewish people are a race. I know that you say historically speaking, but I feel like historically speaking, we're giving them what they want. Because yes, Hitler said in the past, like they are a race. But like, no, they're not. They're just regular white people who just believe something different. And everybody who I don't know, it's just like some white people just don't want to be white. Just like some black people don't want to be black, man. They just hate it so much. And I feel like with Jewish people, they respect their beliefs so much that they choose not to be called by their oppressor, I guess. Because who wants to be called? Who wants to be in the same boat as the people who annihilated their entire existence? You know what I mean? So I understand it,
uh,
but really,
mhm.
you are Caucasian, though.
Okay.
But
So, and homage, if you still here, man, you could definitely speak to this because you're in New York. Where I'm from, we always were around Jewish people because obviously a lot of Jewish people live in New York, in LA, and Florida.
Mhm,
And that's smart because it's nice in those places.
mhm.
So that's where I would, like to live too. Shit. But they have distinct noses. You know that, right? Jewish people have a distinct their noses a little bit. They're like wide like ours, but they're curved. They also have that curly hair shit that you talking about. That is a religious thing. They put on the yarmulke, right?
Mhm.
But traditionally, Jewish people have very curly hair. They're born like that. That's genetics,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Genetically, they don't have olive skin like Italians or people from the Mediterranean because they're not from that point. They're not from that place at all. They technically have like paler skin, but they're usually on the taller. They're on like the 5'6" to like 6'3" side. That's why you don't see a lot of them in the NBA and shit. So they have this. That's also the reason why a lot of them have ball cuts is because they don't want that curly hair. So if you look at Adam Sandler, you look at the other guy that did Tropic Thunder. What was that dude?
Rogan.
Yeah,
Seth
not Joe
Rogen.
Rogan, but Seth Rogen's one. But there's another guy. He did Tropic Thunder. He's like the lead of that movie. I forgot that guy's name. Anyway, if you look at the famous Jewish people, they all kind of have like that. They call it the Jew fro. They
Hmm.
all kind of have curly hair like us, and they have wider noses like us or pointier noses. That's the reason why neo Nazis or race people or people that are traditionally from the Caucasus area, they can point out and say like, yeah, that motherfucker there's a Jew because they have Jewish features. I'm not saying that they're
Right, but
black,
those
but I'm saying that you can identify them fairly easy like us.
right, but those features. You show those features. They wear those features if you're proud of being Jewish. If they're proud of who they are, like you say, some people get a ball cut because they don't want to be. They have the curly Jewish fro.
Man, that's
I
the reason why a
understand
lot of
that.
us get cuts too. That
There's
shit is
nothing.
annoying.
There's nothing that we can do to not have these personality traits. All these things that you're saying, they can get a
Mhm.
haircut. They cannot have those little twisty things in their hair if they didn't want to. All these things, if they didn't want it, they would not have it if they didn't personally want it. There's nothing we could change. We could have a fro. You could have dreads like you. You could have a Caesar cut like me. We can switch up, but we can't change our skin. That is a personality trait that came with us for life. Yes, they can have curly hair. Yes, they may have distinct noses. But if they didn't have a yarmulke, or if you had five white people lined up, would you be able to tell which one is Jewish if they didn't have a yarmulke or the curly hair? Maybe not. Maybe so, but 9 times out of 10, maybe not. Excuse me. Because you're going to look at them and you're going to say those are white people, and some of them may have a different religion. They can't do that with us. Like if you're going to put 5 black people in a row, you're going to say that one's black, that one's black, that one's black, that one's black. Like there's no denying us being African American. They can put their shit to the side. They can put their yarmulkes, leave them in the car. They can get a haircut, all that shit. But you can be able to tell them if they're proud of who they are and they're not changing shit for the world. That's my point. So those physical features can be changed, can be hidden. Ours can't.
That's true. Ours cannot be hidden, but to say that they don't have them is not accurate. It's wrong. They have them.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
they
it
have
is
it,
what it
but
is.
it can be masked.
Now I'm just talking about your first point that you were saying that like you can't tell a white person from like a Jewish person. That's I mean, you can. Like I just pointed out how you can. And like Hamid said, Jewish communities deep in Crown Heights, Williamsburg, it's like their own borough, fire stations, welfare office, all that type of shit. He's right. Jewish people even have their own like grocery stores. They're kind of like even though like Asian people, like Chinese people had their own areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like and when you go through those areas, because I've been through those areas before, you will see a lot of what they call Hamitic. I think that's what they're called. Hasidic, thank you. Hasidic people, you'll see them traditionally dressed up. Then you see a whole bunch of Jewish kids sitting there, and you can tell, like, oh yeah, they all Jewish. It's just the way, it's just a natural way they look. I don't know how to explain it besides the points I
you're
gave.
right. You're right. But that's also because we have an area like that here, like maybe 15 minutes away from us. They, like you said, the Jewish people have their own area, their own neighborhoods, and they live close to their churches. I feel all that. But they are in their area. So, of course, you could pick them out. You see what I mean? Like, no, duh, those people look because
I know what you mean, man. I know that you're saying black people look so much different than any other race. I get that. I feel you. But I'm just saying they have their own distinct features too. That's all I'm saying. Just like German people look a certain type of way. Yes, you can line them all up in a group. And if you don't know no better, you're going to say, oh, these are a bunch of Caucasians. But they do have their own physical traits. But I'm not saying that what Whoopi said was, like I said, historically, she's wrong. But her point she was making is right.
Let me ask
you. Big difference between race relations here and the cops versus Jewish people.
Right.
Versus the cops versus black people.
Now, Jewish people, if they were to put their yarmulke and leave it in the car and go out,
you think they wear yarmulkes every day?
No. I'm just saying. I say that to bring up the physical features. I say that to bring up
say they nose, say their hair,
because that's not something like your nose and your hair. Okay, fine. If they were to get a haircut, would they be safe walking around the streets?
They're gonna be safe no matter what the fuck is the point. They could be walking around with their yarmulke on or with the fucking, like Hamid just said, looking like a fucking Amish, because they look like Amish. If you had never seen them, they look like the Amish people. They could have all of that shit on, and they're not going to get targeted by police.
Right.
That's not happening. That's never happening.
So it's
like
not. So
they have their own police in their areas.
They don't have a race issue then.
I don't think that they have a race issue in terms of police brutality, but
because they're not a race, man. Because people don't really like. People generally don't hate Jewish people unless it's like a religion or it's a reason to hate them. You know?
No, the neo-Nazis hate them.
Right, I got you.
But generally,
normal people, okay, that's what I'm getting at. Normal people don't find a problem with Jewish people. Normal people do have a problem with us, though.
Honestly, I feel where you're coming from, but ain't no normal people. Shit, we all people. Fuck them people. But you talking about white people that don't like black people. Racist people have a problem with black people. I bet you one thing, those same motherfuckers have a problem with Jews. They'll kill us more probably. They'll shoot us in the street. They'll leave us for dead. We got to have our own fucking whole BLM movement, right? We got to go hard. But Jewish people, no, they don't have those particular types of problems. Not right now in this country.
That's my point.
If those Jewish people have their own little mosque and those neo-Nazis get riled up, boy, and them alt-rights get riled up, they get smoked too. So like I said, togetherness. We're different. Together. We need to be unified. Everybody hates both of us. Jewish people don't get no respect from nobody. Nobody fuck with Jewish people unless they Seth Rogen and smoking
Mhm.
weed and making funny movies. Other than that,
Mhm.
everybody fucking hate us. They hate both sides. So I'm so surprised Whoopi Goldberg got like canceled for that and like got like it should have just been an easily meet the minds. You know what? Right. I feel you. That's what y'all believe. That's what y'all think. That's what it is. Like there's people that don't believe African American culture is a culture. And they lost their fucking mind. How much have we contributed to the world?
Mhm.
I mean, we made hip hop, nigga. We made Instagram type. Shit was trash before we came along. Let's keep it a
Yeah.
buck. Like we literally made dancing. Anybody doing that ballroom bullshit like that? All right, bro. I think we good, man. We both feel the same that black people get targeted way more than Jewish people in terms of police brutality and violence.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people that hate black people more than they, might hate Jewish. But my opinion is that we're both on the same side. We're just looking at it from different ways, and we need to unify in this bitch because we can do a lot of good together.
I agree.
And they have leveled up a little bit more than us at this particular point because they do, do a lot in terms of like the movie industry and the music industry. They own a lot of record labels and shit like that,
Mhm.
But the Beastie Boys were Jewish.
Yeah.
Niggas don't think about that. And plus, Whoopi Goldberg is Jewish. That's her religion. And niggas don't talk about that. So you can probably speak on it more than we can because she's actually Jewish. But all right, bro. You want to go ahead and talk about Brian Flores?
Let's do it, man. Let's do that. Let's talk about that, man. Brian Flores is a well, he was a coach. I
Unemployed.
don't know. He was a
Unemployed.
coach. Shit,
No
man.
job having person of the community.
Bro, if this isn't some like three-way phone type of shit that's going on here, man. Do you remember back in middle school? Like, you ever been talking to a girl on the phone or some shit like that,
Yep.
and you don't know she got like another girl on the other line? Like, she'd be like, "Oh, baby, tell me you love me." "Oh, girl, you know I love you." Then her
Oh,
phone,
that's happened
then
to
her
me
friend is on
multiple times.
three-way. You know what I mean? This is some three-way shit going on here. Your boy Bill Belichick text Brian Flores saying, "Congratulations, you got the Giants job. They're in to pat you on the back and shit like that." Your boy Brian Flores talking about, "Wait, did you send this to me or the other Brian?" I can't remember the other Brian coach. The other coach named Brian, his
Dayball.
last name. Say it again.
Dayball.
Dayball. He was like, "Yo," and I would love to hear if Belichick texted Brian Flores back after that, because he may have looked at his phone and was like, "Oh shit, nigga, I fucked up," you know.
He did.
But either
That's
way,
exactly what happened. He said those words, not besides the nigga. He said,
yeah,
"Yo, I fucked up. My bad. I'm sorry. I meant the
yeah.
other Brian." So
Oh
this is before he did
Lord.
the interview, though. So his interview's next day. He get a text the day before, like, "Hey, yo, I think you got this job or the other job. You pick which
Uh-huh.
one, player
Right.
pimping." And he like, "Oh, all right, cool. We copacetic." But he was like, "Hold up, I ain't even do like the interview yet." And Bill Belichick was like, "Yeah, you in there, man." What the fuck? He's like, "You talking to me or the other Brian?" And he was
Well,
like, "Oh, my fault. I fucked up."
yeah. Well, I kind of feel him about not having to take the interview yet, not having an interview yet, because maybe Bill Belichick knew something on the inside. Like maybe the Giants knew that they were going to pick Brian Flores ahead of time. Like, we don't even have to
Right,
interview this
right.
guy.
Yeah,
We know
yeah.
his
It's
credentials.
just
He's
a
Gucci.
formality.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So I kind of feel him on that spectrum, on that end. Like, damn, how did he know before me? Like, maybe he got some
But
inside
when he asked
job
him,
shit.
that's when Bill
He
Belichick was
came
like, "I
true.
fucked up." He
Yeah.
he 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 replied, "I fucked up. I meant to text the other Brian."
Damn. So
My
so
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna, say like, so yes, Brian Flores is suing the NFL. They're not, plain and simple, they're not hiring black coaches. It's weird because Phyllis and I spoke about this just last week on our live,
Yeah.
and now this shit is happening like not even 6 or 7 days later. So, yeah, man, this dude he wants to sue them. He wants to get some paper
Mm-hmm.
out of them, I would think, but really, I think this is very monumental, and I hope that this doesn't get swept under the rug, because this can mean a lot of change if we allow it to be changed. This is one of those things where if we were in the NBA, change would happen a lot sooner and a lot quicker, than it's happening in the NFL. You got a lot of people who
Why?
don't care, and because, do you remember when the coach, I can't remember the coach's name, but he was online and his girlfriend was recording him. He was an old guy. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
he
You know,
wasn't
I
the coach.
love."
That was the owner of the Clippers.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
the
And he
owner.
was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'll give them money. I feed them like while they're being disrespectful." And he just said
And I
all
don't
this
want you talking to him.
disgusting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it was. He did because she had taken
Yeah.
a picture with Magic Johnson, I think,
Yeah,
or
and she
something
said,
like
"I don't
that.
want you inviting them to the stadium, and I don't want you talking to him." But
There you go.
he forgot the fact that she was actually half black. I think she was black and Filipino. She looked
Mhm.
really Filipino though. But she was obviously half black because her skin was very, very
Melanated.
dark.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was
was
melanated out
melanated.
this bitch. But she grew up in LA and she ain't really talk like that, like
Mhm.
like African American. But she invited black people all the time because that was her
They're
people,
people because
and
they're
it's
human beings. Right.
basketball.
Mhm.
And she inviting like Magic Johnson, the best basketball player in the 90s and shit or whatever. You know what I mean? She ain't inviting like me and you up into that
Right.
bitch and be
No,
like, "Oh,
regular dude.
what's up, baby?" Slapping her on the ass and shit. We ain't, nah, she inviting like professionals.
And I think like what LeBron, you have so many social people in the NBA that they're not going to allow
Yes, sir.
that to stand. And
Yes, sir.
eventually they got that man the fuck up out of there. They made him sell his own goddamn team. They got him up out of there.
Yeah.
NFL, on the other hand, look at the Gruden situation from a few months ago. Like
Mhm.
people are fucking up on their phones left and right in the NFL. And like the only reason that something has actually happened is because we're finding out that they're fucking up on their phones. Gruden got fired, but it wasn't until like some shit that came out about the LGBT community. It wasn't the shit that had come out about us about him calling one of the coaches a monkey. So again, with the racial thing, I don't think they care too much about this. Like they know that okay, fine, they could probably give him a couple mil and he can peace out. But I really
Right.
hope that he stands strong, like Colin Kaepernick did. I really hope that he stands the long haul with this. I hope he has enough money for his future, because that's another thing that we don't talk about either. Like when black people stand for black things, we have to make sure that we got enough fuck it money to be able to do this, because he has to still take care of his family. I don't know how he's living. He may be living mediocrely. He may be living like kind of high on the hog. So maybe he has to come down a little bit because he doesn't have that paycheck coming in anymore. But it's one of those things that we have to think about whenever we go against like this big conglomerate like the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could cost a lot of money, and we have to make sure that we have enough money to fight this and to protect and feed our family as well. So he's doing a lot right now. He's going through a lot right now. He has the whole world on his shoulders, or at least the African American community. What he's doing is the right thing. He's doing the right thing because he's putting eyes on this situation that nobody else is really talking about, not to this extent, not to this level, because nobody else
Right.
sees it, because nobody else cares. You know what I mean? So I applaud him for this. This is going to be a tough road for him. And, I'm going to be there. I'm going to back him up. I back Brian Flores until the end of time for this shit right here, man. But what do you think about it? Because you brought it up last week. You brought it to my attention last week because you told me, like, yo, a lot of black people aren't being hired as coaches. And I'm like, really? And I look and I did my research and my homework, and I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just one of those things that you just don't think about that often. So tell us what you feel about it,
Yeah.
bro.
Uh, I've loved football since the first time I seen it with my pop. We was watching probably like Cowboys versus Giants or some shit. I just remember the Cowboys because
It's always the Cowboys, man.
they fucking they just, I don't know. It's like the blue and silver and the whole
Mhm.
thing, and it's just live in there. It's just amazing. Plus, it was winning, so who don't like winners.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like it might be time to start watching football for a while.
Oh, okay. We were supposed to
It's
do
my
that with
favorite
Kaepernick.
sport. I mean, so what happened when Kaepernick happened? I did actually fall off from it. I canceled Red Zone, and we kind of fell off from it. I lived in Cleveland, so it's kind of hard to get away from it. But that was
Mhm.
also the year that we went 0-16 or some shit, so it wasn't that hard. Our team was fucking terrible. So I kind of like really kind of started like getting away from it. I didn't even do fantasy football that year and shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I got back into it because I love football. I mean, it's my favorite sport. Like, what I mean? I like to play it. I like to play video games of it. What I mean? All of that. I loved watching it. It's a soap opera. But this shit is different. This is ridiculous. There is more black coaches percentage wise in the NCAA football, college football, than there is in the NFL.
Yeah,
There's one black coach right now.
and this is
There's not
still
even a lot of coordinators, my nigga. Um, there is no other way to say this that this is basically just racism.
Mhm.
I don't give a fuck what nobody say.
Yeah.
Brian Flores supposedly wasn't agreeable because he wouldn't go ahead and stop winning games. And the coach was like, or the owner was like, hey, yo, his name is Ross, something, Brian Ross or something. Shot his bitch ass out. He basically said, yo, I give you 100 bands every time you lose a game.
I heard, yes. I
That
heard
goes
that
on
too.
the black that goes on the black coach's record. How the
Right.
fuck is he gonna where the fuck he gonna get a job at if his record is like Hugh Jackson's record, 11-48?
Mhm.
And this mother, you can't even get into the door. First of all, the only reason why they started interviewing black coaches because of the Rooney Rule. And the Roonies, if you don't know who the
Bro,
fuck
I
that
got
is,
that
it's
down
the
right
Steelers.
here, man. That shit is affirmative action for the NFL.
That's affirmative
It's
action.
affirmative action, but it still doesn't put anything in place for anyone to get hired that's black.
Look,
it just says that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
nah, man. They had to. Do you know they had to upgrade the Rooney Rule recently?
Upgrade to
So,
what?
so this is how the Rooney Rule was. Yo, you are mandatory to interview a black coach every time you
Minority
hiring a
candidates.
coach.
Yes, you have to.
They had that shit was going on, and this is what they was doing. They was hiring the same dude. They were interviewing the same cat, Marvin Lewis. When Marvin
Stop.
Lewis got fired, they kept interviewing him. He had interviews with every team basically from what he said, and they would just the interviews, bro. If you don't know, in the NFL, they like interviews we do, but like 9 times crazier because it is 9 hours plus long. They ask you questions not only about you, your family history, but also how you going to run the team. What you going to do in this situation if we don't get the first quarterback? Or what about we got to bench our starting quarterback? What are you going to do? Right. How you going to talk to the media? Because, you know, you got to talk to the media every week. It's a big thing, nigga. You running a $1 billion organization. This ain't no game. It's like you're a CEO of a company. Right. I respect that. But his interviews was like 2 hours, though, bro. So that's when they changed the Rooney
So that was
Rule.
fairly quick then.
Nigga, yeah, he ain't even meet nobody in the building. You're supposed to do a tour. You're supposed to go look at the stadium. You're supposed to meet everybody, nigga. The cafeteria staff, the fucking sweepers, all of that, bro. You're supposed to meet, you know, the people that's doing the tickets for the cars. All you meet everybody, bro. His interviews were 2 hours, and he going to a whole nother state. So they changed the rule. And the rule now is that if you hire a black coach or a black GM, you get a compensative, you get a 3rd round pick, an extra 3rd round pick. They had to incentivize it, and niggas still ain't hiring them. They still not hiring black people. Why? Because of the stereotypes of black coaches, for one, and for two, these are billionaire rich owners that are so gone from reality that they don't understand that the rest of the world is embracing all cultures in business.
Right.
We got so much inclusion shit. The company I work for, I'm part of this group called Men to Men, and it's all black men in the group, and we talk about different issues in the globe and try to give that knowledge to other people within our actual organization that are not African American or men. Then I'm part of another group called AAF. That's like the African American Foundation, whatever. And we talk about all African American issues for all genders. This is a big thing now within the big business. Even if it's just a facade, even if it's just a front, at least they fronting that they care about black people and inclusion and gender equality. The NFL don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about none of that. They're not even trying to lie. We got one black coach, and guess what that one black coach owner name is? Guess what his last name is? The Roonies. No, they're the Roonies.
Yeah.
They started the Rooney Rule.
Oh, okay.
So they're the only reason, they're the only coach that has, they're the only team that has a black coach, and their last name is the Roonies based off the Rooney Rule.
Right.
Also, the Giants came back with this long ass 25-minute read report of them saying, yeah, this motherfucker, he wasn't what we wanted. He's too hard to work with. This is the reason why we didn't hire him, because we had a better candidate. That's all good. But then at the end, you're gonna say we're a private organization. We're gonna hire whoever we want.
Mm-hmm.
Why you gotta be so motherfucking snooty and be
Right.
all type of smart when y'all, the Giants, the New York Giants, bro, is 100-year-old organization. They're one of the oldest football teams in existence. They never had a black coach. The fuck you think that's for? All these black coaches that's better than these bums that they hiring, bro. They haven't been to the playoffs or even been near the fucking Super Bowl since Coughlin's ass was gone. And he's been gone for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if y'all had a last thing, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach, he said last year that he's surprised that none of his coaches got hired. And he was so happy that he hired black coordinators because he was like, the talent that you see out there that's on free agents, that's free agent coaches, is something that he's never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Where he can get motherfuckers that are former head coaches, the best in their field in terms of offensive schematics, and they're not getting no head coaching jobs because they black. So he just got all of them. Tampa Bay has the most diverse staff in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, everybody black and women. And he like, well, there's just all this talent sitting out there. I don't got to do shit. He said that he go home at 3 p.m. every day. Because his staff is so talented and they work so hard because they're trying to get opportunity. He don't even got to do shit. Tom Brady said that if Brian Leftwich does not get the Jaguars job, there's a problem. He said that shit. That's the GOAT. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Racist, I don't give a fuck what nobody said. Like and comment, nigga. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, nigga.
So look here. We talked about this last week, and I had said I don't understand why they don't want us in. Or I do, because it allows us to reach even higher. It wants us to go even further and do more. And they don't want, I guess they don't want us in the same position as them. They don't want us owning the team. But my thing is, I feel like they're if that's the case, that they're thinking too far ahead. Like, put the black guy in as coach. See if that's what you need to get to the playoffs or win a Super Bowl or win a few more games. I don't know. But this all goes back to race and what we were talking about earlier with the Jewish people, and because really it's and it still just boils down to a fear. They fear us. Then you put that to the side, and now they fear our success. They don't want us to be as rich as them. Yeah, sure, they get a couple of people. You got your Beyonce, your Jay-Z, your Diddy. They got 600 million a bill, but they don't want like too many more of us in that field, in that area where they have to look at us and they have to listen to what we have to say when they get like these big rooms and they speak, owner talk. They don't want to have to listen to our black ass, man. So as disrespectful as it is, I do understand why they don't want us to have a seat at the table. But we're not even there yet. Let's focus on putting us in the coaching positions so you can win a few games. Just like Brady said.
Don't you want to win?
That's what I'm saying. Like, put Leftwich in and see what happens. Just see what happens. Because you brought up coaching, NCAA. They will pick a college coach like a Harbaugh, give him a chance. He quits and goes back to college. That was Harbaugh that did that, right?
Yeah. He got fired, right? But he went to college, yeah.
Yeah, and he went back. And look at the Jags coach. He came from a college team. He got caught up in doing all that shit. What's old boy's name? Like, they give Peterson, the other man so much leeway, so many chances, so much leeway to just fuck up, and we'll bring you back in. You just do the right thing, stay on the straight and narrow, But when it comes to us, like, they want to give us a second chance, bro. That's fear that we'll be successful, fear that they're wrong, and just plain old general fear of us, of black people, fear of a black planet. That's exactly it. I think they fear if we get too much money in our hands, we may actually realize that we don't need them Let's start our own fucking United States of America. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much. I don't know. But I just feel like it just all stems from them being afraid. Like everything that has to do with race, has to do with black people, it all comes down to just fear. And they have it, like you said about the Giants, 100-year-old organization. They said, "Oh, sorry, he didn't meet the criteria." But at the end of it, it was like, "Yeah, but we don't have to do this if we don't want to."
That's
And
exactly
that's
what they
and that's
said.
and that's generally they may have wrote a whole thesis or some shit, but you could throw all that shit out and leave it at the last line. They just didn't want to do it, and they don't have to. But that would be kind of unprofessional to say. They know that, we know that, you know that. You know what I mean?
So let me bring up another point too. All right,
Mhm.
so you got Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh is of Indian descent. Robert Saleh is the Jets head coach. They're already thinking about replacing him. That fucking team is trash. They don't got nobody on that team. Poor
Yeah.
guy can't even get a fucking shake. Then you got the owner of the new Washington Commanders, which everybody was calling the commies on Twitter, which I thought was fucking hilarious because
Nah,
their owner is about to get
childish.
fired from his job. Nah, they're doing it because their owner is trash. That's why they're doing that, because their
Mhm.
owner is basically he be taking the cheerleaders to go do like photo shoots and shit on in like the Bahamas,
Mhm.
and he'd be like, yeah, so I'm inviting all my rich white friends, and you're gonna have to sleep with them, or you're not getting a plane ticket back.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
he on that type time. Like he on that type of yeah, like he on that
Oh,
type time. Me
shit.
too type time. He me too and for real. And he has a federal investigation, and the owners won't even give information that they have on him. That's why John Gruden got caught up, was because the federal government is looking into the owner of the Washington football
Commanders.
team or whatever,
Yeah.
the Commanders, and they caught up John Gruden. That's
Damn,
how
man.
that's
So
how
this is
crooked these
so,
motherfuckers.
bro. This sounds like some Jeffrey Epstein type shit going on in the NFL, man. Like
I mean,
everybody knows something, you
they're
know.
billionaires, bro.
Mhm.
There's only one team that's not a billionaire that is not ran by billionaires in the NFL, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. They're the poorest team. They're so poor that they practice facility, you gotta walk across the street to get to it. The players, nigga, gotta walk across the street, and it's underneath a highway, and it's not covered. So when it snows, they still got practice in the
God
snow.
damn, man.
They
That's
poor
crazy.
babies. They in the Super Bowl because of Joe Burrow. That's it. Anyway, the Giants are so bad as an organization that they've only had two black assistant coaches. I'm talking about special teams and all and like offense. Like it's like that crazy. You know what I mean? They haven't really even had a black starting quarterback.
Mhm.
But you can run, you can catch, you can hit somebody. But in terms of you being like, you know what I mean, QB or the leader, they truly believe that organization truly believes that black people should not be in leadership positions.
Yeah.
And per what Edgy Oberlin said, she said, she went through a similar situation with I guess like an interview, and she says this happens with interviews all the time. I believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, she said most of the time leadership already know who they want in another position. That's
I
true.
definitely
They
agree
have to
with
go
that.
ahead and do that. This part of the politics. But she said that's fucked up because diversity only leads to success, you dumb fucks. And she's right. Because they're not hiring this person because of the color of their skin. There's Asian coaches out there that's trying to get a head coaching job. They ain't gonna never be coaches, bro, in
Yeah.
life. But Asians, Indians, other like Latino race people, they're not 70% of the league, man. They're very small percentage of the NFL. So how can you have these people out there playing, but you can't have them in leadership positions?
Let me ask you that. Answer you that. And
Racist.
what Edgy said, diversity only leads to success. Success for you, for who? Because if it's success for them, the company, the business, the billionaires, they don't see that as successful because, excuse me, they what they're doing is they're helping us get up, black people. They're giving us a job, putting us in position, helping us get up. They don't want too many of us to rise up. So what Edgy is saying, it makes them become more successful. Their team, let's keep it at football. Their team becomes more successful, right? But so what? Because like you just said, you told the story of the dude who offered $100,000 for every time he blows a game. That $100,000 is like pennies to him. But it's so much. It was probably so much for that coach. if you decided to take that. But I'm saying it's like the success is not every black person can be successful, and I'm not going to put my foot out there, put my money out there to make that person more successful. I would much rather just have a losing team and trade this, get a new coach, put this in order, put this in place, than put too many black people on and make them successful in their own lives to where they can possibly save up some money on a football team. They don't want that to happen. They'll just take that loss. They'll be successful somewhere else. You see what I mean? So I agree with you, Edgy. I mean, it's like Phyllis was saying about Jewish people and black people. Let's come together and do this. Let's come together and be successful. But no, not too many of us can be successful. So they can be millionaires on that field, busting each other's heads, getting CTE, but we can move them out and bring some other ones back in. It's a little different for like a coaching position or so, what have you.
That's the only explanation, because that's the only explanation. That's it. I'm sorry. There's no other explanation besides racism, bigotry. That's it. Like, and I understand Brian Flores might not be the best coach or everybody's cup of tea. Yeah. If somebody gave me 100 bands and was like, hey, yo, if you quit or drop these games and lose these games, I give you 100 bands and you can get all the vacation time you want, I'm out. And I'm taking the bread.
You gonna take it?
Why? You know why?
Why?
Even though my record would be fucked up, if we have an agreement like, yo, bro, you're not going, you're not going to go ahead and fire me with this shitty record. If you cool, guess who their quarterback would have been if they got the first pick? Joe Burrow. They got Tua. He sucks and they suck. He led them to 9. He won 8 or 9 games at the end of the season. They started off like 0-6 or some shit. They were fucking terrible. Yeah. But he and his defense changed that. Imagine if he had an actual competent quarterback. That's what I'm saying, right? So it's like in the NFL, it's like that. But at the back of my mind, it's still like, yo, you asking a black coach to do this. Would you ask a white coach to do that? This is the other layer. Not all support is great. Hugh Jackson came out and said, I had the same situation in Cleveland. And he insinuated that they paid him money to go ahead and lose games. Mm-hmm. The owner came out and said, yo, Hugh Jackson is blaming everybody else but himself for this fucked up record that he had with the Cleveland Browns. I never asked him or gave him $1 or asked him to tank. I wanted him to win. We want to win. Right. Then Hugh Jackson comes out yesterday and say, well, I never said that I got like paid to do it or anything. I'm just saying that was like that pressure there was to get the best pick possible. Hugh Jackson has a history of double talking.
Okay.
So you got to be careful with all the support you get.
Okay.
So in my opinion, to end this out this topic, I would say the next step is for black people, the black coaches and players to stand up with Brian Flores, because there haven't been a lot. Hugh Jackson said something, but that he bugging. He don't need to talk. He needs to shut the fuck up. I'm just being honest. I know that coach. He was my coach of my favorite team, and he be lying. So we need some other people, some prominent people that's in the NFL. But Brian Flores is never going to. He might not ever be a coach again. But believe it or not, the Houston Texans are thinking about hiring him, because they know they can get him for like $150,000 a year when he's supposed to be making $6 million because he's suing the NFL. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's my whole point with it all, man. It's just like it's getting crazy out here.
Keep talking, bro.
Yeah, man. But anyway, folks, I hope y'all see how much of a crazy week this was. Certainly with this being February 1st and everything. Wayne, you have anything good that you'd like to share that happened this week in terms of the world?
In terms of the world,
something happened,
bro. You know what? I make lists of things that I want to talk about when we do these live shows, man, and none of it is ever good. None of it is ever good, bro. I got something, man. Okay, please.
So, y'all know I live in Texas, and in Texas, the power grid held up. We didn't lose power. We
Hey,
didn't, but 30,000 other people did. So y'all need to fix that shit. But we ain't losing no power. And I bought all types of gas powered heaters that's going,
mhm.
probably blow up. All types of
Yo,
propane
boy,
tanks and shit,
that
trying to
boy
save
James,
us from paying heat.
Fearless will be prepared for anything, bro. I'm telling y'all, man.
I ain't trying to be
Y'all
out
go
here
to his
cold.
house for the apocalypse, bro. When Jesus comes back,
Please do, because I got all types of
I'm
shit.
telling you, man. If you don't know you're going to heaven and Jesus comes back and swipes everybody but you, well, you be good at Fearless's house, man. Whether
So
he's there or not.
that's the truth. But it depends on if I let your ass in or not. You gonna have something to trade.
God
Uh
damn, man. Hell.
because some of you motherfuckers don't know how to act right. Let's see. Joe Rogan got in trouble just recently for using the N-word back in the day. So that's great.
Well, yeah, and I'll also shout out to Neil Young. And there was a group of other artists that decided to pull their music off Spotify for not wanting to be associated or on the same streaming platform as Joe Rogan. So shout out to them. One of those people was India Re. I feel like
Hey,
India Re may have needed
NDRE.
that paper. I'm not sure she's. I'm not. I don't think she's broke, but you need to have your music on everything, boo. Um. But yeah, man, yo, I fuck Spotify. Yo, y'all want to
Huh.
spread that misinformation? Cool. Apple Music's better anyway. I said that way long time ago. So fuck it. Fuck Spotify. But like I said, that wasn't nothing positive. So I kept that to myself, man.
Nope. So yeah, thank y'all for all the people in Austin. I think I might be doing my first show in a long time out there. Getting a lot of streams for the song Sauce in Austin. So I appreciate that. I don't know where the hell it came from or who the hell I know in Austin, but it's a bunch of people supposedly per Apple Music. So that's a good thing. So Edgiopolis' team Apple all the time. All right, man. So thank y'all again Saturday for joining our live stream. Hopefully next week it'll be a little more positive, and we won't be talking about race relations and how you can't get a black football coach. Um, hopefully a few of them get hired, but it don't look like it. It look like that ship done sell. It look like I might have to just say fuck it and not watch football no more.
Yeah.
So thank y'all, man, for joining us. Wayne, you want to go ahead and send us out, man?
Yes, man. I'm gonna go ahead and send us out. First and foremost, you can find us on Spotify.
Even though we just dissed them.
The You Feel Me podcast. We're on Spotify regardless. Because if y'all still got Spotify, then fuck it. Might as well listen to us on there. We're on Spotify. Anywhere your free podcasts are sold. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. We're on SoundCloud. Overcast. Y'all please download the Overcast app. It is a podcast app. If you download that and then download our podcast on Overcast, we get a little kickback from that, and we appreciate that. Also, youfeelmepodcast.com. That is our own personal website. You can find all of our past episodes, past conversations, and also our current ones. Questions. If you want to send us some questions, we can read them on the live stream. Questions at youfeelmepodcast.com. You can find us on IG, Instagram, You Feel Me Podcast, Twitter, You Feel Me Cast. We be wilding out on Twitter. Check us out on there. We're now on TikTok as well. You Feel Me Podcast. So that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, and then there's Facebook as well. Join us on Facebook where we talk to the other podcasts on there. Any other podcast want to do an episode with us, if you're on the same wave as us, y'all please let us know, man. We'd love to get down with y'all, man. Also, Patron, we're on Patreon. Patreon, we got $2 level, $5 level, $20 level. You guys check us out. We're gonna give you something back when you guys jump on our Patron. We give you guys a little something for helping your boys out. Also, merch, baby, merch. Getting jiggy with it merch. That's the You Feel Me podcast. As you can see, Fearless got his You Feel Me podcast hoodie on as well. You can get
Comfortable
yours
too.
at youfeelmepodcast.bigcartel.com. Get yourself a hoodie, get yourself a Scully, a hat, get you a t-shirt, get you a mug, man. Look, nice little mug, pour you a nice little cold or hot beverage in.
Oh yeah,
Delicious, man.
shout out to Edgy Opulence for getting two skull caps last week, man. Like for real, man. For one, not only was that dope, but for two, really appreciate the support. You know what I mean?
Appreciate the
Young
love.
black
Thank
company
you.
out here trying to build. a media company just trying to build up. So we really appreciate it, man. We appreciate the love, and we got sizes all the way up to like 4X. So you know what I mean, whatever the fuck size you is, we should be able to accommodate. But
No
go
doubt,
ahead,
no
bro.
doubt. Send us an email at questions if you need a bigger size than a 4XL or a 5XL. We can figure it out for you. We just want you to wear our gear, man, because it's dope. Let me think. Jimmy B Fearless, one of the greatest rappers. He has Fa and Kobayashi dropped last year. You jump on Spotify again if you got it, and you go listen to
Or
him on
Apple
there.
Music.
Apple Music, Apple Music, I believe it's on Title as well. Shoot.
Yep.
Am I forgetting anything, man?
We're on Instagram and we have exclusive content on there actually at the You Feel Me Pod on Instagram, and of course on Twitter at the You Feel Me Cast, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And Wayne be acting crazy on Twitter, so go ahead and follow him because it'd be funny as a motherfucker. And don't forget to listen to our last episode, Code Switching, which I personally believe is my favorite episode that we've ever done. That episode is insane. Like, we talk really about code switching and how we feel about it from being two cats that's in corporate America.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of y'all is too, or not even like being in corporate America, but just when you're walking around like a group of white people or you're in a professional setting, you feel like you might have to talk different and act different. Do you do that? When did you learn how to do that? So watch our latest episode, man, because getting a lot of good feedback from it, and people believe that we all code switch, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, why do we do that? Why do we have to do that? So listen to our last episode. And also, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps us with the algorithm, bro, so we can push out our podcast to more people that's like y'all. So we just appreciate y'all. And as always, we love y'all. And buy a t-shirt and a hat. for the blackies, and it's Black History Month, so support some blackies. How about that?
Word, man. Word.
And your mama.
No doubt, man. Like you said, like, subscribe, hit that bell, rock that bell. Thank you guys for everything. We truly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Saturday to listen. Y'all please send this to somebody. Just continue to support your boys. We appreciate it, and we love you guys. Y'all be safe. Black Lives Matter. You are important. All that good stuff. All right. We love you. Peace out.
Peace. BLM. Peace.